Nothing shatters trust like finding out your spouse has built an entire life without you, and then telling you you don't even deserve the blueprints. I still remember the moment I discovered it, the glossy real estate brochure tucked between our mail and the electric bill. It wasn't addressed to me, only to Mr. and Mrs. Parker. But my name and signature weren't there. My heart skipped as I flicked through photos. A sunlit living room, marble countertops, and my favorite garden view, except the address wasn't our street. It was a house I'd never heard of. I stood in the kitchen in my pajamas, brochure trembling in hand, as my husband, Jack, patted in with coffee. "Morning," he said, smiling. "Why do you look like someone told you the sky has turned green?" I held up the brochure. "Care to explain this?" His face went blank. He set down his mug. Where did you get that?" "I found it in the stack of mail," I said, voice tight. "You bought a house without telling me." He ran a hand through his hair. "Not exactly bought. It's an investment property." I laughed, short and angry. "An investment property? You didn't even mention it to me." "We're married." He frowned. "Meg, it's strictly business. You wouldn't care. This one's for rental." My chest ached. "I wouldn't care if you sold the moon without me. This is our life, our mortgage, our future." He glanced away. "I have my own finances." "Your own?" I echoed, stunned. "Since when?" He shrugged, irritation creeping in. "Look, I don't have to explain every move to you. You don't deserve to know the details." I felt the wind rush out of me. "Don't deserve, really?" I backed away, tears burning. "Tell me I'm dreaming." He shook his head. "I didn't spring it because I was waiting for the right time." I swallowed hard. Right time? Like when we could celebrate together. Like when I'd actually qualified to have a say. He sipped his coffee. "Exactly." I felt my wedding band turn cold. "I guess I'm not qualified." I dropped the brochure on the counter and stormed out, the slammed door echoing through our home like a verdict. That afternoon, I called my sister, Laura, voice quivering. "He bought a house," I said, "and he says I don't deserve to know the details." Laura gasped. "He what?" "Meg, run me through it." Over lunch at our favorite cafe, I laid out the brochure, the bank statements I'd found online tied to his name, and the bank's obscured account info. Laura's eyes widened as she flipped the pages. "You need proof," she said. "Then you need to confront him on your terms." We sketched a plan. I'd tick off what I knew, gather more details, property tax records, deed, history, and then decide whether to pursue mediation or legal counsel. But first I needed support. I texted my best friend, Emma. "Emergency. Can you come over?" Within minutes, my living room filled with commiseration, coffee, and multiple laptops. Emma and Laura pored over the county assessor's website. We confirmed the house was solely in Jack's name, purchased 6 months ago, just 2 months after we'd agreed on a major home renovation. "This is beyond shady," Emma muttered. "He hid an entire real estate portfolio from you." I nodded. Fury and heartbreak tangled together. "He says it's business, but we're a team." Laura patted my hand. "Tomorrow at dinner you confront him. No hysteria, just questions. You have the facts." That night, I lay awake in our marital bed, the sense of betrayal eerily tangible. The mattress, dipped where he'd slept, memory foam molded to a stranger's lie. Part 2. The confrontation and its fallout. Thursday evening, after Charlotte was tucked in, I set the dining room table with 2 plates, one for me, one for him, and the brochure in the center. When Jack appeared, the Tension crackled like static. "Let's talk," I began, voice controlled. He sat, arms folded. "About." I placed my evidence before him: property deed printout, tax records, photos of the empty house, and my bruised feelings. "You bought this house in February," I said. Heavy on the you, zero on the us. "Why?" His jaw clenched. "It's an investment. We needed a hedge." I bit back tears. "A hedge because you felt insecure? You couldn't talk to me?" His gaze flicked away. "Talking's messy. Numbers are clean." I laughed bitterly. "Clean? You think betraying my trust is tidy?" He inhaled, frustration flaring. "I meant well." I pressed on. "Then include me. If it's business, let's set up a separate business account file. Taxes correctly. But divorcing me from decisions, intentionally, you lie by omission." His shoulders slumped. "I'm sorry. I didn't know how to say it." I felt a flicker of sympathy, quickly stamped by betrayal's burn. "Sorry doesn't fix it. I need transparency, not excuses." He nodded, voice low. "What do you want?" I outlined my terms: joint review of all assets, access to the new house for inspection, financial, couples counseling, and a signed written agreement that all future property deals would involve both of us. Only then would I consider forgiveness. He exhaled, relief mingled with dread. "Deal." That night, the weight of our words hung between us. I lay awake, wondering if these Band-Aid solutions would hold. Part 3: Rebuilding or Breaking Free. Over the next weeks, I enlisted a financial planner, Sarah, who guided us through joint asset disclosure. We sat around her desk, me armed with questions, Jack with spreadsheets, and unearthed more hidden info: a rental property under his mother's LLC, dividend-paying stocks in an offshore account. Each discovery cut deeper, but the planner's calm voice reminded me, knowledge is power. Parallel to the financial overhaul, Jack and I began couples therapy with Dr. Lou, who specializes in financial infidelity. She introduced us to the concept of ownership therapy. Every week we alternated ownership sessions. One session where I voiced my needs, he listened. The next, he shared his fears, I listened. Slowly, our walls began to crumble. One evening, during an ownership session, I said, "I need to believe you trust me with anything, not just the scraps." Jack's eyes softened. "I was scared you'd think less of me for taking risks without you." But hiding was worse. I reached for his hand. "Then show me your risks. Let's face them together." That night, he invited me to the hidden house. It stood empty but for the echo of possibility. We walked each room. The sunlit kitchen I'd painted in my mind, the nursery he'd claimed was too far from good schools, the backyard I dreamt of planting roses. I placed my palm on the dining room window and said, "It could be ours." He nodded, tears in his eyes. "If you want it, if we want it together." We signed an addendum to his LLC, transferring the property into our joint name, and repurposed it as a rental to fund our daughter's education. In the process, I found empowerment, no longer a bystander to his schemes, but a co-owner of our shared destiny. Months later, our financial planner commended our progress: transparent bookkeeping, regular money dates, and a renewed commitment to shared goals. In therapy, we graduated from ownership sessions to gratitude rituals, each night naming one new reason we chose each other. Today, as I walk through our actual home, our renovation completed, laughter echoing in the hallways, I think back to that brochure's betrayal. What began as a secret had the power to break us, but disclosed, discussed, and integrated, it became the foundation of a stronger union. Tonight, I'll tuck Charlotte into her own bed, then slip into our master suite, once the stage of deceit, now a space of mutual respect. I'll find Jack there, waiting with a smile and open arms. I'll whisper into the dark, "Thank you for bringing me into your world. I won't let you ever shut me out again." And in that promise of transparency, partnership, and shared dreams, I'll sleep knowing that if you walk into your marriage's darkest corners, you might just find the key to a brighter tomorrow. I sat across from Jack at our kitchen table, the afternoon sun slicing through the blinds in sharp lines across his downcast face. Between us lay the stack of printouts I'd gathered, the deed to the new house, bank statements with unexplained withdrawals, and emails from Jack's financial advisor that mentioned secondary portfolio management. For the first time in years, I wasn't the one swept into his orbit. I was orbiting the truth. "Meg, please," he began, voice low. "Let me explain." I held up the deed. Investing is one thing. Buying a $600,000 house in your name alone is another. And hiding it, telling me I don't deserve to know, breaks every vow we ever made. He rubbed his temples. I panicked. The market was hot. Interest rates were at historic lows, and I didn't want to risk losing a once-in-a-lifetime deal. I thought I could fix it before you noticed. Fix it. My voice cracked. Fix our partnership, our trust. How do you fix betrayal? Jack swallowed, eyes rimmed red. I started the process 6 months ago. Held off telling you until the papers were signed. I was proud, stupidly proud that I could pull it off. I exhaled, grief and anger coalescing into resolve. Pride based on secrecy is arrogance. You didn't just risk our money, you risked us. You risked me. He nodded, shame darkening his features. I know. What can I do to make it right? I paused, tapping the stack of documents. First, transparency. I want access to every financial account you control. Joint sign-off on any transaction over $1,000. A monthly review with our financial advisor. Jack met my gaze. Agreed. Second, I continued, we need counseling, both couples therapy and financial therapy, separately and together. We have to rebuild trust brick by brick. He exhaled, relief flickering. I'll call Dr. Nguyen tomorrow. I nodded. Third, legal clarity. I'm consulting a lawyer this week. If we're going to save this marriage, you need to consent to a legal document protecting my interests. No more secret purchases. No more personal LLCs you hide behind your mother's name. No offshore accounts. His expression hardened. We'll do whatever it takes. I'll cooperate fully. That night, as I lay in bed, the weight of our conversation pressed on me like a stone. I remembered the first time he told me he loved me, his eyes full of promise. Now those same eyes brimmed with regret. But love isn't always enough. Trust must be earned. 2 days later, I sat in an elegant law office. My lawyer, Ms. Patel, listened as I laid out my demands: joint ownership of any future property, review of all existing assets, and a clause in our marital agreement requiring mutual consent for purchases over a set threshold. This is called a post-nuptial agreement, she explained. It doesn't mean you're heading toward divorce, but it can protect your rights. He must enter willingly, or the court may not enforce it. I nodded, feeling a surge of empowerment. I want specificity. No excuses, no loopholes. She smiled. I'll draft it. Next week, you and Jack will sign before a notary. Until then, you have the right to place a lien on the property. My heart fluttered. Legal leverage, but also a stark reminder that our marriage was on precarious ground. That weekend, Jack and I walked into Dr. Nguyen's cozy office, soft light, warm tea the faint scent of jasmine. We sank into plush chairs. "Welcome back," Dr. Nguyen said, offering us cups. "Tell me where you are." Jack spoke first. "I broke our trust by hiding a major purchase. I've agreed to joint finances, postnuptial safeguards, and full transparency." I exhaled. "I'm hurt, confused, and I don't know if I can ever see him the same way." Dr. Nguyen nodded. "Betrayal trauma in relationships can shake you to your core. We'll work on 3 phases: acknowledgement, accountability, and rebuilding if both partners commit." Over the next hour, he guided us through exercises, the truth table, where Jack verbalized each step he took in buying the house, and the empathy mirror, where I repeated how his actions made me feel: angry, betrayed, ashamed. Jack sat silent, absorbing every word. By the end, Dr. Nguyen said our homework: financial check-ins every Sunday evening, 30 minutes. Journal entries. Jack writes a daily reflection on one decision he made transparently. I write one moment I felt seen and respected. Monthly financial therapy with our advisor. Bi-weekly marriage sessions to address any emergent issues. We left holding hands, tentative, but holding. That Monday morning, I received a call from the county assessor's office. "You have a request on file from Mr. Henderson to transfer the deed," the clerk said. My pulse quickened. "It requires your signature as co-owner to proceed." I stared at my phone. Steps away from fully enforcing joint ownership, I had to decide: sign or block. I consulted my journal that night, reflections on where I'd felt progress and where mistrust still lingered. In the end, I signed. If we truly wanted equality, I had to claim my share of the partnership. Over the next month, routines settled into place. On Sundays, Jack and I sat with our financial planner, reviewing our budgets, investments, and the rental income from the new house, which I now co-owned. We celebrated small victories: our first budget surplus, our daughter's college fund booster, and an honest check-in that ended in genuine laughter instead of argument. In therapy, we moved from recounting the betrayal to exploring our vision. We drafted a shared financial vision board, pictures of our dream home, travel destinations, and even our daughter's future college campus, pinning the Toledo skyline and Italian vineyards side by side, reminded us we were partners again. One evening, as we planned a small getaway funded by the rental proceeds, I caught Jack's eye and saw hope reflected there. He squeezed my hand. "Thank you for giving me a chance." I leaned in. "Thank you for taking me with you this time." 6 months after the brochure's first appearance, I stood in the living room of our newly renovated home, once the scene of hidden surprises, now bright with sunlight and open windows. I slid the last photo into the family album: Jack and me on our balcony, glasses of wine in hand, smiles genuine and unguarded. Our daughter raced across the lawn, chasing bubbles her dad blew. I watched them, heart full. The house he bought in secret was now ours entirely, recorded in both our names, its rooms echoing with shared memories, not stolen moments. That night, I sat at my desk and wrote a final journal entry. I walked through betrayal into boundary, through sorrow into strength. And I learned that transparency isn't just a policy, it's a promise we renew every day. As the clock chimed midnight, I whispered into the quiet, "I deserve to know the details of my life. And so do you." And with that, I closed my notebook on this chapter, grateful for the bridge we built and ready for the journey ahead. And in the quiet aftermath of conflict, we discovered that true partnership is built not on perfect choices, but on the courage to choose honesty again and again. It was a clear spring morning, birds calling, dew glistening on the honeysuckle when I realized the hard part was over. The paperwork was signed, the house deed registered in both our names, and the post-nuptial agreement safely tucked away in our lawyer's vault. What remained was the ongoing dance of trust and the everyday miracles of shared life. That weekend, Jack and I celebrated with a small ritual born out of our therapy work. We brewed coffee together. He pulled shots on the espresso machine and I steamed the milk, then stepped out to our balcony, overlooking the garden we'd planted side by side. Under the budding cherry tree, we poured our mugs and clinked them gently. To transparency, he said, voice soft. To partnership, I replied. The ritual felt sacred. No grand declarations, just two people committing to the small acts that hold a marriage together, finding new rhythms. In the months since our final agreements, we settled into new rhythms that made openness as natural as breathing. Sunday finance dates. With spreadsheets opened, we review our joint accounts over waffles. We celebrate surpluses with a small treat. This week, homemade chocolate, croissants, daily 5 p.m. check-ins. No matter how busy, at 5 p.m. each day we pause, step away from screens, and share one success and one struggle. It keeps us connected and aware of each other's worlds. Quarterly home audits. Borrowing from our initial bug sweep, we now do a light audit, checking budgets, calendars, and yes, any new major decisions. It's a practical check-in, not a suspicion, but of shared responsibility. One evening, mid-audit, Jack looked up from his tablet. I never thought I'd say this, but I actually enjoy these sessions. I laughed. Me too. They're like a tune-up for our marriage. He smiled, tucking his laptop away. Let's go watch the girls' soccer game. Healing together. Parallel to our financial and practical routines, we continue couples therapy, now as maintenance rather than crisis intervention. Dr. Liu taught us the repair ritual. After any disagreement, we pause, acknowledge the hurt. I see I hurt you when, apologize sincerely, and then each share one thing we appreciate about the other. The first time we tried it at home, I had tears in my eyes when Jack said, I appreciate how you've rebuilt our home into a place of light. I told him, I appreciate your willingness to rebuild, instead of burying the past. It felt like medicine, simple, immediate healing. Reclaiming our community. With our private life steadier, we turned outward. We hosted a transparency potluck for our closest friends. Each couple shared one lesson about money, trust, or communication they'd learned. Ramesh and Priya talked about joint career pivots. Carlos and Anna shared how they manage homeschooling finances. Our community, once divided by whispers, now celebrated candor. My church small group invited Jack and me to speak about rebuilding trust. Standing before them, I felt the echo of the day he'd told me I didn't deserve to know and smiled at how far we'd come. We shared our story, hard truths, paperwork, rituals, and afterward dozens approached us, grateful for a roadmap, personal growth, and new dreams. In the balance of giving and receiving trust, I found space for my own dreams. I enrolled in evening classes at the community college, journalism, and creative writing, subjects I'd shelved in the frenzy of married life. I published my first article on financial integrity in marriage in the local paper, weaving my personal journey with expert tips. Jack cheered as I nailed my midterm, bringing me flowers for every 100-word milestone. He knew that my growth was his as well, that supporting each other's individual passions fortified, not threatened, our bond. A new home, a new beginning. Last month, we hosted a belated housewarming party for our once secret house, now fully ours. Neighbors, church friends, family, all gathered under the cherry blossoms to toast the home's official unveiling. As guests wandered through the sunlit rooms, I saw Jack beam with pride and relief. He pulled me into the garden and whispered, "We did it together." I looked around at the vibrant community, at our daughter chasing bubbles, and felt my own pride swell. "Yes," I said, "together." The ongoing promise. Tonight, as I tuck our daughter into bed in her nursery, just down the hall, I pause at the doorway. The moonlight slants across her pink walls, illuminating the dreams we're weaving for her, dreams of honesty, partnership, and resilience. I whisper, "I love you, sweetheart. You'll have a world of openness." I return to our bedroom, where Jack waits with 2 mugs of lavender tea. We sip in companionable silence, the years of secrets faded into memory, replaced by a tapestry of shared commitment. I lean my head on his shoulder and murmur, "I'm glad I found that brochure." He laughs softly, "Me too." And as we sit in the gentle hush of our sanctuary, I know that love, true love, isn't about never stumbling. It's about getting up, hand in hand, and building something stronger than before. In the next chapter, we'll explore new horizons, ventures, travels, milestones, but tonight we rest in the quiet triumph of a marriage reclaimed.